Can you get reelected when you just made all of your voters sit there waiting for the lights to go out in the most technologically advanced place on the frickin' planet Earth? Have you heard of Silicon Valley? It's here. You get that? Silicon Valley? That's here. The smartest technologists in the universe, they're here. You can't figure out how to keep the lights on the state that includes Silicon Valley? You can't make that work? Certainly, the president would be in favor of the United States being the leader in a new form of nuclear energy. Do you think President Trump would enjoy being the president who initiated a whole new era of clean, safe nuclear energy? Bill Gates blessed and funded to get it going. Do you think President Trump would like to be that president? Well, he should. I don't know what I would like more than that. Maybe the only thing cooler than that would be what? Space Force? We know he likes that. So how weird is it that the entire, really the entire climate change risk has come down to one person doing one thing. One person is President Trump, and the one thing is figuring out a way for Bill Gates and TerraPower to get licensed in an expeditious way for someplace in the United States.
Make it so. Make it so. Make it so.
So let me give you an update on California. So yesterday, the schedule in California is that my town was supposed to lose its electricity potentially or probably or something at noon yesterday. So at first I thought it was going to be at midnight yesterday, the start of the day. And then it was noon. So I couldn't really do much yesterday because you just sort of sat around waiting for the power to go out. I'll tell you one thing. Most of the people I talked to had no idea that there was even a potential for a power outage of that type, where they just turn out the lights and wait, until the day before or the day of. There are people who were found out about that the day of, including me. I thought it was a joke. Christina said, they're going to turn off the power for 12 hours or something. And I thought, no, they're not. What kind of weird conspiracy theory are you falling for, Christina? And then I saw it was real. And then I thought, wow, we really need another governor. Let me tell you, if you live in a state where you wake up and that same day you learn for the first time ever that you might lose electricity for the whole day because your state does not have an infrastructure that can support electricity, and you're just finding out about it, you have to get rid of your governor right away. You shouldn't, I hate that we even have to wait for an election. Now, had our governor said, we've got this problem, it could happen any day now, we're working on it, we're doing what we can, but we have to warn you, sometime in the next several months, we might have to do this thing. Now, if that had been the case, I would feel a little bit differently about it. I'd feel, well, there's a problem, it's a hard one. Somebody's communicating with us, they're working on it, they have something like a plan. Nothing like that's happening. I mean, at least I haven't noticed. Maybe I don't watch enough local news. But we desperately need to get rid of our governor. There aren't too many things that would make me say that. But sitting around waiting for the frickin' lights to go off, there isn't the slightest chance this guy can get reelected, is there? Can you get reelected when you just made all of your voters sit there waiting for the lights to go out in the most technologically advanced place on the frickin' planet Earth? Have you heard of Silicon Valley? It's here. You get that? Silicon Valley? That's here. The smartest technologists in the universe, They're here. You can't figure out how to keep the lights on the state that includes Silicon Valley? You can't make that work? There's nothing in your head that says, what can we do technologically to properly prepare to have electricity in the state of California? Is there anybody we could talk to? Anybody who's got some ideas? Anybody who's got some money? My God, if you can't keep the lights on in California, just leave. Gavin Newsom should just wait until the lights go out and then just slink away to another state. I could not be more embarrassed to be the governor of a state, if it's California, that can't keep its lights on. Now, if you told me that New Mexico was having a problem with their grid, I would say, well, poor New Mexico. New Mexico doesn't have as many resources, doesn't have the money, doesn't maybe not even the human capital to keep the lights on. I would say to myself, man, maybe we should do something to help New Mexico because they don't have the same resources as big states. Maybe they need some help. But if you can't keep the lights on in California and you're not going to tell the public, heads up, not going to tell us what you're doing, not going to tell us how you're working on it, time for a new governor. All right, that's enough of that. Oh, by the way, the lights didn't go out yesterday. I don't have an update about whether or not they went out in other places. Maybe they did. But my town, the lights didn't go out. I don't know why. And I don't know if they'll go out today. So maybe it'll happen today. I don't have any information. I don't know. Here's an interesting thing. Coal usage in the United States is expected to decline 14% this year, which would be on top of large declines going back to the Obama administration, mostly because of alternatives, cheap gas, and some renewables. So it turns out that the market is working. The market economy is solving what the government can't do anything about or doesn't know it's real or whatever in terms of climate change. So the United States, simply by waking up and going to work, is solving one of the biggest problems in the world, which is climate, by just some natural reduction in the amount of coal that's used, because the market has less demand for coal than it has for other things that are cleaner and in some cases cheaper. So this is another one of those cases where capitalism just sort of takes care of business if you wait long enough. Sometimes the problem is you don't want to wait. Then you add on top of that as I've said before, Bill Gates, his company TerraPower, just one example, has a fully functional design for a Generation 4 nuclear plant if they can get it permitted someplace that they can test it. And if you don't know, Generation 4 means that there's no danger of meltdown because it's designed that if it loses power, it just stops working, whereas the current versions, the older versions, if they lose power, there's a danger of losing containment. The new designs don't have that risk at all. And they also eat nuclear waste that already exists, so it reduces waste, and it could be economical if you built them, in a standardized way. So we've got that sitting out there that the market economy makes possible, because there are people who are willing to invest in it, and it's just sort of sitting out there. The only thing that it needs is President Trump, probably. So weirdly, President Trump, the person who believes that, or has said many times, that climate change is a hoax. Now, I don't take that literally, but I do think that he's talking about China getting one over on getting one over on the United States, because China would not have the same restrictions in the Paris Climate Accords as the U.S. would, and so it would be an unfair thing. So in that way, it's clearly not a good deal. But whatever the president believes about the actual risk of warming, he is sort of the face of climate denial. And given that he's the face of climate denial, it is the weirdest thing that he is the one person on Earth who could simply go on television and solve all of the risk of climate change. How did this simulation get to the point where there's one person in the world who just has to go on television, basically, and say, if you let Bill Gates get licensed, we'll probably take care of all your problems about climate change because we'll have a working, robust Generation 4 nuclear plant. We'll probably have to tweak it a little bit, but then we just clone it, and we've got free, clean, not free, but economical, clean, risk-free power for the rest of eternity, or at least until fusion kicks in. And all the president has to do is say, look, it's really hard to get a permit, but we're going to put all of our attention on making this happen. So if somebody can't get something done, give me their name. Like, literally give me their name. As president of the United States, who is it who's stopping Bill Gates from getting to build the first prototype of this Generation 4 plant? Because he has the money, is fully designed. Oh, here's a fun fact. Listen to this fact. Do you know that all existing nuclear power plants in this country were designed before computers? Just hold that thought for a moment. All existing nuclear power plants, the ones that are operating in the United States, were all designed before computers. Slide rulers. Now, does that feel safe to you? Does that feel safe? Well, not so much. Bill Gates' design, which he's looking for a place to do, is designed and fully simulated with supercomputers. Supercomputers. So they've got a pretty good idea, how this thing's going to operate. You still have to build it to be sure. So imagine President Trump saying, look, I'll find a way to get this done faster than it should take. I think it would take 40 years to get something approved in our current system. Just bring me the name of the person who's not doing the job. Who is it who's dragging their feet? Who is it who doesn't have the resources? Give me their name. Is it a guy named Bob? Bob, call me. Bob, why can't you get your part of this licensing thing done? Bob, what are you doing that's more important, Bob, than getting this done? Maybe you work a little longer today. Bob, you're saving the entire planet. Now, maybe the president doesn't think that, but certainly the president would be in favor of the United States being the leader in a new form of nuclear energy. Do you think President Trump would enjoy being the president who initiated a whole new era of clean, safe nuclear energy, Bill Gates blessed and funded to get it going? Do you think President Trump would like to be that president? Well, he should. I don't know what I would like more than that. Maybe the only thing cooler than that would be what? Space Force? We know he likes that. So how weird is it that the entire climate change risk has come down to one person doing one thing? One person is President Trump, and the one thing is figuring out a way for Bill Gates and TerraPower to get licensed in an expeditious way for someplace in the United States. Now, I don't know what their limitations are about where they need to locate. Maybe they need to be near an existing grid or something, so there may be some limitations. But you can't tell me there's any place in the whole United States that wouldn't allow Bill Gates to put the safest nuclear power plant in the world. At least we assume it's based on design.